Perhaps you've had the experience of playing that fun childhood game, Jenga. I still play it sometimes, even with the school kids. But the thing about that game is that you're trying to take out these blocks from the bottom of the stack and putting them on the top. And each time you do that, the stack becomes less and less sturdy because you're taking blocks from its foundation and taking them and putting them in another spot, making it more top heavy. And it's that kind of image that Jesus uses today in the gospel. He says that those who listen to my words and act on them will be like one who built their house on a firm foundation, who built it with firm, good materials, rather than someone who doesn't listen to his word, who builds their house like on sand. So like when you play Jenga, the foundation gets less and less sturdy. And it's like someone who is building their house on sand, or they continue to take away pieces that are part of that foundation that make it stand. And what he's trying to get at is those who really put their trust in what he's saying and actually act on those words are ones who have a firm foundation. If we just listen to what we hear at Mass or listen to something on the radio and we don't do anything about it, if it doesn't really change our lives, then we don't really have a firm foundation in Jesus. It's just something like a nice thing to talk about, something that might be nice to share over coffee, but if it doesn't change our lives, it's not a firm foundation. Today we celebrate the feast of St. Francis Xavier, who was a Spanish Jesuit missionary who really wasn't too into faith when he was younger, but then came into contact with St. Ignatius himself, the leader of the Jesuits, and he invited him to become a Jesuit, and then he went on missionary. He went to the West Indies and then to Japan, and he finally wanted to go to China at the end of his life to evangelize, to bring the gospel to those people, but he never quite made it. He made it kind of just in view of the Chinese land, but then he died before that. He's a good example of one who had a firm foundation, because I can't imagine anybody wanting to go to a totally different place, something totally foreign to them, and to teach the gospel in a different language to people who have no idea who Jesus is. But he had that firm foundation that told him that Christ would be with him always, and that the gospel is the power of God working through us. That it didn't matter that if it was him and his own feeble human nature preaching it, that Jesus would bring about the best good for his mission. A great example for someone who has a firm foundation. During this Advent season, we're called to make our foundations more firm, to root ourselves more and more in Jesus Christ, to prepare ourselves for his coming, so that when he does come, we might be rooted in him, and we might be able to live and reign with him forever in the heavens for all eternity with our God and Father.